Hi, it's Antoinette, the host of 112 International Women in Life and Leadership, or My Will, the My Will podcast. Maybe some of you are new to My Will or 112 International and just our organization and ministry and outreach that we have. Some of you may have seen me on the Visionary Nurse platform before. I also have that platform. But I just felt like I needed to share this word for the Montalvo International community that we've kind of formed online. So I'm always very careful to kind of release certain things because, I want to protect the space and what God is saying. But if you've been tracking with the last couple of podcast episodes that I've been doing with Mariel Villarreal, we've been talking about waiting for God's prophetic promises and really standing on those things. And so I just had to share this because it's just incredible. It's an incredible testimony to what God is doing and to just give encouragement to someone. So for those who have just been waiting for the breakthrough, waiting for God to provide his answer, his way of escape, his resolution, hopefully this encourages you. So I had jury duty this week. For those who may not be familiar with it, it's where, every citizen in the United States gets called to have to serve as a jury for their peers in certain court cases. And these cases can range from minor civil cases to really major things. And so I had just been praying about this jury duty service and just really not wanting to have to do it because we just have other things going on this week. But I was like, Lord, I had already had to, move it before. You just make it right for me. You pull it together. Let this case be dismissed. Just let it be done. So anyway, I get there, they're going through the roll call process. And again, for those who may not be familiar with jury duty and what you have to do, essentially you have to go through a roll call process. You have to, say who you are, what you do, et cetera, et cetera. And then they use that to decide, if if it works for you to be on the jury. So the case that was presented, usually they don't pick people who have law enforcement relatives. And they said this to me afterwards. And I'll get into that as to why that's even important. So as we were just sitting there and I was just kind of praying to myself, because it's just a waiting process. It's a patience test. You have to sit there and you have to wait, and then you have to wait more. And will the judge say yes? Will the lawyer say yes? What will they do? And so I had to mention, that I have a relative who is in law enforcement. But even after I said that, and I was wondering if they were going to pick me for this particular case, and the judge kept saying, this is going to be straightforward, etc. As I was just praying and saying, Lord, what are you saying about this? I have other things I need to do. I would love for this to be wrapped up right now and not have to do anything. And I distinctly heard the Holy Spirit say, they're going to pick you. Don't worry. It's not for the reason that you think. It's so that the truth will be exposed. And I said, okay, God, if that's what you want, so be it. Whatever truth that you're trying to expose, so be it. Again, I'm thinking truth with the case, something I don't know. I don't know what he wants me to do. So I one day goes by, or that same day, we are, after they finish the roll call stuff, we have to come back that afternoon. The jury that they picked, there's 13 other people that they're picking. Some people are super nervous. One lady gets sent back home because she's just so nervous that she's literally sick nervous, and the rest of us are just trying to fill in the kind of awkward time of what do we do. And so I'm just sitting there making conversation, and we're just waiting and waiting and waiting. An hour passes, and the judge calls us and he's like, we're not going to start the case today. I have to do some pre-trial things. You guys go home. So I'm like, Lord, I don't know what's going on, but whatever you want to be exposed, whatever you want done, just, may it be so. So we have to come back the next morning. So literally most of the time it's just sitting and waiting. We're waiting with these, other folks here who are on this jury with us. And hopefully this is coming through and making sense, but we're just waiting. So the next day, and my kids are praying that, that this case will just be dismissed. Everything will be done. I'm driving early in the morning. I have to be there for 9:00. I had a meeting earlier, and I'm like, Lord, what about this meeting that I had? I was supposed to be at this meeting. And he's like, don't worry. Don't worry about the meeting. It's going to be okay. Just stay in position. So I'm like, all right, Lord, I trust you. I trust that you will work it out for me, that you'll make it worth my while. So anyway, I'm trying to make a long story short, and an amazing story at that. But we get to, I get there, my husband's texting me and he's like, don't worry, case will be dismissed. And I'm just like, Lord, whatever you want to do, let it be so. So once again, we all get to this one little room. The door is closed. We're waiting, for as the jury, just waiting to see what the judge is going to say. And we're sitting and waiting and sitting and waiting. A minute goes by, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and everyone's just really silent. Everyone's just kind of almost like really awkward. And I just kept feeling this press of like, Antoinette, pray over the process. And I had kind of felt that nudge yesterday, but you know how sometimes we feel these nudges and it's like, Lord, but it's like, okay, I'm going to pray. I don't know what everyone's stance is, but I'm going to ask them, like, is it okay? I don't know what your faith level is, but I'm going to pray over us. I'm going to pray over our process. And I just pray, Lord, let it be smooth. Let this case just be dismissed. And if for some reason you need us to be here, give us wisdom and unity in the process. Make it so smooth and so easy and allow us to just be done. And so after about a minute after that, everyone says amen. They're all in agreement, and they call us to go and sit down at the stands, and the judge comes over. And this time, the day before, the person who was being defended, he was there, but this time he wasn't there. And now that jury duty's over, we're able to kind of talk about the case. I'm not going to give any other details to that. But the judge comes over and he's like, sometimes with these trials, it just, there's rulings that happen. There's things that happen. And I'm not a lawyer, so, don't hold me to every little detail. But, sometimes these things just get resolved, and just wanted to let you guys know, as the jury is here now, the case was resolved. So you can go home. You can go home. And everyone is like kind of just sitting there in shock and awe with the jury, because they know. And the judge was like, we were just able to work it out. And 30 seconds ago, we just got it resolved. And I'm saying to myself, what did you allow us to do 30 seconds ago? I said, Lord, if I would have just gone ahead and prayed yesterday, would we have been home yesterday? And I said, look at Jesus. When he says it's time, it's time. When he says he's to be there and you're to be there, then be there. He said, stay in position. He said, the truth will be exposed, and his truth was exposed. So this is an encouragement for someone. God may have you show up to something that you're not expecting or wanting to show up for. You may be waiting. You may be there. You may have other things to do. But God is saying, I am going to have my truth exposed, and I will make it such a sweet moment that you are not going to do anything else but laugh at the entire situation. And that is what I did all ride home. I laughed because I was like, Lord, look at you. Look at you. And he made it a resolved situation for the person as well. So that's an encouragement for you, just a little testimony and just a word for someone. Be encouraged. It may seem like you are going through something you do not want to do, but be open, be joyous, be excited. If God is telling you to be there, he's about to do something that's going to give him glory, and it's going to make you laugh, and there will be joy, and people will not be able to deny that it was God that did it. So I just encourage you, if you haven't, again, listened to those podcast episodes that I did with Marielle, go to, podcast.co. You can type in Montalvo International. You can look on our Instagram page. If it's hard for you to spell, or my will, M-I, then the word will, W-I-L-L. Or you can go on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast, Apple Music, those types of things. But I hope you can be encouraged in this. I hope you can stand strong in what God is having you to wait for and also show up in. And then also when you feel that nudge of him to telling you to do something. And it might be as simple as pray in the spot that you're waiting for the resolution, and watch him work it out. So again, this is Antoinette, your host of Montalvo International Women in Life and Leadership, or My Will. Be encouraged and let God bring you joy in these moments.